Salesforce AMA 2 for May 2017.
Your conference is being recorded.
We're going to cover the Finger One report, which captures the new sales on today's call, and we will jump right in. Today's goal, defining the Finger One report, as well as discussing the importance and some of the best practices around why you would want to look at the Finger One report. So the Finger One report knowledge, we'd like to start with what it is. Finger One reporting is our new sales reports, capturing our new contracts. The point of all of this is to make sure that everything you put into the system that is Finger One criteria is captured correctly and therefore reflective and captured on the Finger One report. And why is this important to you? Like we said, it's important, one, that you get the credit that you deserve for winning and closing the contracts, as well as looking at it periodically to leverage new wins, to add on to, and perhaps carry on that momentum of a sale closing in one territory that might be represented in another territory. Okay, so reviewing the Finger One, and what we're going to get into in the system is how to find it, what it includes, what are the important pieces of data on the Finger One, why review it, and best practices regarding the Finger One. All right, so we'll go ahead and we'll jump into the system in just a second, and we'll have a look at what it looks like in Salesforce. We'll have any questions on the slides before we jump off, and we'll review this real quick one more time. I heard a couple people jump on late, but we are recording this. And once we're finished, we'll open up the discussion for any AMAs on this topic or any other topic. So let's just go back to the beginning again and just cover the basics. All right, again, our goal, defining the Finger One, discussing the importance and best practices. What is it? It's our new sales report. All the new contracts that come in that fit certain criteria, and we'll cover the criteria once we look at the report. Why it's important, ensuring that all of your Finger One criteria sales were entered properly and therefore reflective on the report, and leveraging the momentum of those wins if there's business in your territories that you might be able to partner up and add an addendum to an existing MSA to make an easy sale. All right, so let's go ahead and just jump right in. So from the home screen, you would just want to find your Reports tab across the top, and as I like to instruct and give suggestion is to right-click on the Report tab and open it in a new tab. That therefore, if you were working on something on your main screen, it would remain untouched. We go ahead and jump in, and because I've looked at it recently, it's going to be at the top of my recently viewed reports. But if you can't find it there because you've never seen it before, this is the name, the title of the report, Finger One with a space, a dash, and a space, current period. Now, once you're in here, you can change the time frame to anything you need. If it's last period, if it's the current quarter, if it's the current year, if you want to look to the last year to see what you've done. So we'll look at that in a minute. Notice that it's scheduled. That's what this check mark means. So it's real easy to find because there's not too many reports that are scheduled. So when you find it, just make sure you have one that has the check mark next to it. And this is in the Filed Public Reports folder here, so everyone has access to it. If this is something you want to have scheduled to be sent to you, there's a group, all the VPs, all the RPs, and many others get this on a weekly cadence so that you can see throughout the period it build as you go. So you could strike while the iron is hot, so to speak. You know exactly what's coming in real time. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and click on this report, and I'm going to do the right click and open into another tab as well, just in case I wanted to come back to this screen. And here we have the Finger One report for the current fiscal period. We can see from here, and let me go ahead and make this a little bit bigger if that helps to see. We can see the time frame here for the current fiscal period started April 21st and will end on the 18th. Do take into account that the Tuesday before we would shut down the system, or else first thing Wednesday morning for audit purposes to make sure if anything needs to be corrected, we have time to do so without major edits in record manipulation, seeing how it's in the same period. But if you wanted to change the range, you've got all the options in the menu, as well as you could just go ahead and type in any date that you wish in the date fields. Okay? So let's take a look before we get going. We've got the chart at the top, which is nice, but the criteria that we discussed on the slide deck. This is the criteria here that I'm highlighting that's important. You make sure fits this box if you think that your sale is going to hit the finger one criteria. We can go through these step by step. So the first one is the service line, and this is the service line on the opportunity record, right? They need to be TOS 90, which we shouldn't be using anyway, and TOS stands for type of service if anyone doesn't understand that one. 95 and 96. 97's in there, but that's not even an option to sell anymore. It's been removed from the system because of FDS's engagement, and that's their main line of service. Then as well as the opportunity being one of these, and at the opportunity level, if you have multiple opportunity sites beneath it, always code the opportunity to the highest number that is inclusive of that bid. So if you had 2 sites that were a 95 and only 1 that was a 96, code it 96, greatest number wins. The second line on the filter is the off-site service, and it's the same thing here. It's got to be 90, 95, or 96. Again, 97 has been removed. Type. This is the type of business that we've got going, and this is on the opportunity line. So it needs to be new business. It can't be an add-on. It can't be existing business. It cannot be a conversion. It has to be organic growth. Business type is on the opportunity site, and it's the same thing there. It has to be new business. So again, if you were working on a bid that had 3 locations and 2 of them were rebids and 1 of them was new, the opportunity must be coded new because at least one of the sites beneath it was new, and this will drive it to this report. But if 2 of the 3 sites were a rebid and we won all 3, well, the only thing that would show up would be that 1 new site. Stage is pretty straightforward. You have to win. And stage by itself is on the opportunity, off-site stage on the opportunity site. And it can't be temporary. All these contracts need to run at least 12 months to hit this report. So if it was temporary or if that box was checked or you coded it as temp by the TOS number 91, it won't come here, and if that was done by mistake, be sure to capture that. So every time you close a sale, I would then review this report to make sure that it populated. And then there is a region exclusion that if National Sales doesn't put their reports into an actual operating region, it wouldn't come through either. All right? Now let's take a look at the fields of data that come across. The annual site revenue converted to USD. So here, they are in Mexico, they're putting their deals in pesos, and it gets converted into a US dollar. The C1, the gross margin. The owner, that's who's getting credit for the sale. So if you ever work with National and it says Margaret or Tim or one of the VPs and it should be your name, just reach out to them and let them know, and either we'll get it corrected or we'll create a case and update it as needed. The department that's going to realize the revenue, the account name, the opportunity site name, the sales category. This becomes important when you work with John Katz and the healthcare team that it says healthcare. That might change in the near future, but that's the way we're doing it right now. The vertical market that it represents. Again, this vertical market piece is to identify the core business that that company provides. So if we were going to do Walmart distribution centers, we don't code that as logistics. We code that as retail because that is their core business. It's the difference between vertical and scope of work. Off-site stage, they're all going to say one closed here. The close date, which should be the date the contract was signed. The projected start date. And then we've got this close to start gap, which indicates if there's a lag in reporting or not. Then we've got hours per week, which isn't always going to be relevant. If you're selling IG with mobile guarding and remote guarding, you're not going to have hours. Same with bill and pay rate. This is all for on-site. And then we've got the incumbent prior to bid. That's who had the business before Securitas won it. This true C1 is just a formulation between the total revenue of the job and the C1 dollars to be made on the job to give us a true C1 and therefore weight the C1 instead of statistically giving us averages. Okay? And it's sorted first by the opportunity site service. So all the perm business will be on the top by region. Then all the guarding solutions work by region. And then all the IG work at the bottom by region. So as you can see here, you were working your finger one, you close the deal, and you check the report to see that yours is there, and you say, oh man, AECOM, I got some business with them that I've been pursuing in my backyard. Let me reach out to Jay, see what Jay can tell me about the deal. Can he get his guy to open the door to say that they were very pleased with the process and maybe grow the business elsewhere? That's the way you would want to leverage this report. And then also to make sure if this was Jay checking out the win, that the revenue looks right, the C1 looks right, and everything across the line is accurate. If you saw that there was a negative number here, we can also hit this little arrow button, by the way. This will drop all of the headers so that you can see it no matter where you are in the report. If you have a negative number here and it was not correct, you're going to get a ding on the scorecards and on the audits for this. So if you see that and it's not accurate, catch it immediately, make a chatter post on the opportunity site record here, say, hey, the start date is wrong. Can you please update it to X? There's no need for a case for that. If you go to the record itself and make a chatter comment that something was wrong and this was what was wrong, if you do it on the record, I will be happy to make those adjustments for you. Okay? So that's really all that we had to do today on this finger one. So let's go ahead and open this up to see if there's any questions or if we want to review anything in more detail, and it doesn't have to be about this specifically. If there were any other questions, well, since you started using the system until now, by all means, ask some questions and we can do some demos and walkthroughs. All right. Seems that we don't have any questions. That's good. I will go ahead and stop the recording now. And I will be converting this file as soon as possible and putting the link up onto Chatter for anyone else that needs it. Thanks so much for joining and have a great day.